Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Lauren and today I'm going to be drawing my April TBR. So if this is your first TBR video with me, how this usually works is that every month I draw 5 books and I draw them out of my TBR star jars. I have 2 jars. The first one, this is my all-purpose jar. It has the title of every book that I'm interested in reading. If you want to know what the titles of all of these books are, you can follow my Goodreads link down in the video description box. It'll take you to my want to read list and you can see the name of every book in this jar. So I usually draw 4 out of here and I draw a 5th out of my golden star jar. These are my most anticipated reads, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting to these sooner rather than later. That way I am not losing excitement about them. So I draw one of these each month. As I'm sure you probably noticed in the video title and or the thumbnail, I have decided to add a 3rd TBR star jar. Why would I do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have noticed that I'm having a really hard time remembering what is going on in all of the series that I have going. So I may read the book in a series and it may be months and over a year before I draw the next one. And at that point, I can't remember what was happening in the book before. So I decided to create a jar that this has the titles of all of the series that I'm in. Now that doesn't look like much, but there's actually 25 stars in here. I am in the middle of 25 series. So I will probably be drawing like 1 or 2 of these each month, then 1 of my golden stars, and then either 2 or 3 of my regular stars, depending on what I draw. I know that is kind of a lot. 3 TBR star jars. You guys seem to be pretty okay with the TBR stars, so hopefully this isn't overkill, but I think that this is just something that I need to do. But rest assured, I will not be adding a 4th jar in the foreseeable future. So I think that that is it. That is the explanation. So let's just jump right in and draw some books. All right, so here we go. First draw, I'm going to be drawing out of my series jar. If this is a very slender book, then I might pick 2 out of here, but if I draw, for example, like one of the Stormlight Archive books, and we'll stop at that and move on to the other jars. So here we go, first draw. All right, let's go for, on a side note, these colors, they don't really indicate anything. It's totally random. I just grabbed like extra sheets of paper that I had lying around, and that's why it's multicolored. Also, I just thought it was looked cooler like that. So the colors really mean nothing. How about, let's go for maybe this yellow star. And my first draw, can I get it open? My first draw is, oh, finally, okay, the Southern Reach trilogy, which I think I have right here behind me. All right, so I read Annihilation right after, well, actually, was it after or before? Actually, it was before I started this channel. So I've been waiting to get to the second book for over 2 years. What's the second one called? Authority. I'm really excited about this. I feel like I've been waiting to get to this forever. So if I am remembering this correctly, which we've established, I'm having a hard time remembering what's going on in all of these series that I have started. This is kind of, I think, kind of sci-fi-ish, although the first book is a little bit cryptic and it's hard to sort of understand what's going on, but it definitely has kind of a horror sci-fi feel to it. It's this group of women who they are on a team, like a government team called, I think the team's called the Southern Reach, and they are going into this territory that bizarre things have been happening in, and they go onto this land, and strange things happen to them on the land, and it's almost like they start kind of losing their minds a little bit. I'm probably butchering that, apologies if I am. But I really, really enjoyed it, and I have been looking forward to getting to this one for such a long time. This is actually, I don't think this is all that long. The book isn't even 300 pages, though Jeff Vandermeer can have a pretty dense writing style. But I love his writing style, so I am very excited to finally get to this. So that was so much fun. It's so exciting that I think I am going to draw a 2nd star from my series jar. So let's draw one more. All right, so I've got 2 greens, a dark purple, and a lavender. Like I said, colors don't mean anything, so why don't we go for one of the greens since there are 2 of them that I just dumped out. And the second draw is going to be Stormlight Archive. Of course it is, because of course it is. Okay, so there is some good news to this right now. I am actually in the middle of Oathbringer, though I have not picked it up literally in multiples of months. So let me grab it real quick. I'll be right back. All right, here we are with Oathbringer from the Stormlight Archive. So fortunately, I am about 1/3 of the way through this guy, but it has been long enough since I've picked this up that I can't really remember what is happening right now, so I may need to go back a couple chapters to refresh my memory. If you are unfamiliar with the Stormlight Archive, it is a high fantasy series, and it has a really unusual magic system, a magic system that is based on basically the power, the magic that storms bring in whenever there are these huge storms that happen in this land. Whenever it happens, there are these stones that they gather the energy from the storm, and that is how the people that are capable of using magic, that is how they do it. They draw the power out of these stones, these Stormlight stones. I am a big Brandon Sanderson fan. I love the way that he writes, and I have really been enjoying this series. I'm good with this. I'm actually, the more I think about it, the more excited I am. Even though it's a huge book, the more excited I'm getting to finally get back to Oathbringer. So I am now going to draw 2 books out of my regular jar, and these are either standalones or series that I haven't started yet. So if one of these is as a new series, then I may be adding a new star to my series jar, depending on how that goes. But let's go ahead and draw a 3rd book. So these are color-coded, well, not so much color-coded as they are each month when I add books into my jar, I do a different color. That way I can kind of keep an eye on how long different sets of books have been in my jar. So I think actually some that have been in here the longest include these dark purple ones and maybe these red ones, the red with the tan on it. I think I'm going to draw one of the dark purple ones, though I think they may have been in here the longest of all of these. So let's get one of these next. All right, and my 3rd draw is Armada. Awesome. Okay, this is an Ernest Cline book, which I own as well. Hold on, let me go grab it. All right, here we are, Armada by Ernest Cline. This is a sci-fi novel of kind of the VR variety. This is the same author that wrote Ready Player One, which I really enjoyed. I honestly didn't really have any intentions of ever picking up this book, but I saw this copy on Book Outlet like a year ago, and I loved it. I think it's so cool and vintage looking, so I had to buy it. The main reason that I didn't think I was ever going to read this book is because I've heard a lot of people complain about how it is too similar to Ready Player One. Knowing that, going into this, that really sort of tempers my expectations, so I'm just going to assume that this is a carbon copy of Ready Player One. That way I don't wind up disappointed. And then if it's really cool and does its own thing, then awesome, that'll be a pleasant surprise. Overall, I just really like these types of concepts. I think it's just good, clean, fun, kind of cotton candy. So, you know, even if this isn't just a literary masterpiece, I'm pretty sure at the very least it's just gonna be a good time. All right, so 4th draw, another one out of my regular jar. Okay, so let's take a look here. A bunch of different colors. I think the ones out of these that have been in here the longest are probably these sort of watermelon green striped stars, so maybe I will take one of these next. All right, and my 4th draw is going to be, holy cow. I don't think I can do this, oh my God. My 4th draw is The Ship of Theseus, or S. This is supposed to be a super involved book. I do own this. Let me go grab it. Let's take a look at it real quick. All right. So here it is, The Ship of Theseus, which I have not even broken the seal on. I got this for Christmas. Not last year, but I think the year before that. And the reason that I haven't broken the seal yet, the reason that it is sealed, if you are unfamiliar with this book, it has like maps and pictures and other kinds of ephemera inside of it that come with it. This is supposed to almost be like sort of a mystery adventure kind of experience that you have when you are reading this book. Like all these little bits and pieces kind of add to the story and help you sort of figure out what's going on, help you get your bearings. The description says a young woman picks up a book left behind by a stranger. Inside are his margin notes, which reveal a reader entranced by the story and by its mysterious author. She responds with notes of her own, leaving the book for the stranger, and so begins an unlikely conversation that plunges them both into the unknown. And then I think this is kind of like a book within a book. The book within the book inside of it is called The Ship of Theseus. And it says it is the final novel by a prolific but enigmatic writer named V.M. Straka, in which a man with no past is shanghaied into a strange ship with a monstrous crew and launched on a disorienting and perilous journey. This sounds like so much fun. This seems like such a fun experience, like going through this, reading this, looking at all the stuff that comes with it. But do I have time to read this month? April is my birthday month, and this could be a fun sort of adventure thing to have on the month of my birth. But do I really have the time for this? Is this hard to read? Is this hard to get through? If you have read this before, would you comment down in the comment section and let me know if this is something that I need to dedicate a whole lot of time to, or if I'm going to be able to get through this month. You know what? I am going to try to get through this in April, but if I just am running out of time, I may draw a different star later in the month and read whatever's on that and then put this back in the jar for another time. So hopefully that is agreeable to everyone, but I think that's the best I can commit to right now. Life is busy, guys. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Last draw, my fifth and final draw out of my golden star jar. If you can't tell, I have restocked this. Like, there are definitely more in here than there were before. I think I was down to like 4 or 5. Now there are a dozen in here. So let's see what we've got. And, oh, nice. Okay, the final draw is Inspection by Josh Malerman. I also own this, and I have been really excited to get to it. Let me go grab it really quick. This is awesome. Yay! All right, so after a totally fruitless search, I remembered that this book is actually right here behind me. Here it is. Inspection by Josh Malerman. I think that Josh Malerman seems to be kind of hit or miss for most people, and I've only ever read one other book by him, which was The House at the Bottom of a Lake, which I really, really loved. So I am very, very excited to get to another book by him finally. I think Josh Malerman tends to write these sort of thriller, horror. They might be mixed with like might have sci-fi elements or dystopian elements, but this, if I am recalling correctly, it's there's a student in particular at this school. The school is set like off in the woods somewhere, so the kids at the school are completely isolated from society, and it sounds like it has maybe a sort of library at Mount Char type of thing going on, if you've read that. The students at the school are being trained in the arts and science and mathematics, and they look at the head of the school, the superintendent or the founder or whatever, as kind of like a father figure, which is very similar to The Library at Mount Char, and a book that I also really, really enjoyed. The thing that I am really expecting from this book is sort of a sense of dread being built up. That I love that in books, and that is honestly a big part of the reason that I loved A House at the Bottom of a Lake so much, is the dread and the sort of unsettling feelings that it inspired in me. So I'm really hoping that that's what I'm going to get from this book. Also, I just love the vibrancy of this cover. I love this cover, and man, I am really excited about this one. This is a great book to end on. In fact, all of these, I'm really excited about all of these, like especially since, like I said, April is my birthday month, so I think it is going to be a good month. All right, so I think that is going to be it for me today. These are all of the books that I drew for the month of April. This is a big stack, although trying to keep in mind that I'm not reading this entire thing. I'm only reading 2/3 of it, and this is a bind up, and I'm only reading one of the stories out of here. So that kind of helps me calm down a little bit. I would be very curious to know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. So I hope that you will talk to me about it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will like it and possibly subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.